Studio, we get busy.
Renegade Revolver, what's going on? MJMG presents. How's everybody today? It's been a few weeks. SYFM Collective. First and foremost, the runners, they in today. They want to see and hear. Chill, we got y'all. I know I've been missing the action for a little week. Y'all might even hear a little raspy in my voice. I'm about to record a record with this voice because I know it's going to go away. And I'm going to utilize what I got. But shout out to everybody jumping on today. We have a songstress, singer-songwriter, creative, content creative. I could keep going. But the beautiful part about all the amazing thing that this person does, there's a humbleness. There's such a great humbleness. I was in California. I was at an event. Shout out to Naima B. She had an event and I was there and I was speaking. I got to meet Amber and the humbleness that Amber had. It came with this, I do this shit. That's what it came with. It came with I do this shit, but chill, I'm being cool. So today we're going to talk about what they do, how they do, and we're gonna hear some dope music in between. So shout out to everybody on. I see you, Even Muse, I see you. Tony Bosco, what's going on? And shout out to everybody on the app as well. We will be broadcasting on Kick shortly. If you don't know Kick, the streaming site, we also on Kick as well. And shout out to everybody watching this on the MJMG Presents app. But before we even get any further, we're gonna decorate the air a little bit. So we got a new record, Amber Essence, and if I didn't do the proper introduction, you're gonna get one right after this. But this song is called I'ma Pull Up. Usually when somebody tell you I'ma pull up, I don't know how nice that's gonna be, but we're gonna check it out. Oh, they said they missed me. Thank you. Yeah, I was missing the action for like a week and a half, but I'm back in full action. So check this out right here. This is I'ma Pull Up, and then we gonna pull up with Amber Essence after this. So check this out, y'all.
SHU Studio, we get busy.
I know you don't think I'm ready. Don't be scared to say it. I've been waiting on you. So what you gonna do? Cause I've been on your mind, been pressing my line. If I stay tonight, I can get you right. Until I'm right. You've been begging me for a long time. I might come fuck around for one.
Pull up on me, baby, show me how much you really want me. Ooh, pull up on me. Ooh, pull up on me. It's not like I don't enjoy our FaceTime and how we be on the phone until late night. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, we online. Every time you post a pic, you see that I like it, but I be on the road. You know I'm a star. You be working hard, being the boss you are. Girl, I'm tired of being apart.
I know we both are VIP,
And our schedules sometimes collide, but we need to make time for what we need. And that's something we can fix tonight.
so you feeling me like crazy.
Prove it.
You already caught me, baby.
Whatever's on the schedule,
Do it. I'll do it. What we get, can be great, can be great.
I need you in the flesh, I'm tired of the gram. I wanna see if you as good as you say. I want you right here in the palm of my hand. Ooh, baby, ooh.
I'm on my way.
Shout out to everybody on right now. I know we cut it short, but we gonna bring it back. Time is money, and I don't want to waste this individual's time at all. Shout out to everybody that's on today. We're gonna have a really dope show. If you're just tuning in right now, Noli, I see you. YDZ. There's a lot of Z's in that. It got me dizzy. But we got a songstress, like I mentioned earlier. This person been putting in a lot of work, and you might have seen their work sprinkled as well as in your face on the A&R desk. There's many competitions where she was in the mix, and I don't want to I don't want to put and say too much on it. We getting claps already. Let me cook, y'all. Y'all already putting the hearts and claps, man. This is how it's working, but I love it. Much love to y'all. And there was a moment where this individual was on a record and people were like, yo, you made that record. And the humbleness of this individual was just like, you know, I'm glad to be a part of it. It's not something that I was trying to push and do, but guess what? You did it and you did your thing. And I wish it was my hook. I told him that. I know y'all probably laughing in the chat, but I told him that. I wish that was my hook because she did a thing. Without further ado, let's bring on Amber Essence. Let's get a round of applause. Let's get a round of applause real quick, and let's bring our guest to the forefront. How you doing?
I am good. How are you doing?
I'm good. How you doing? Oh, let me mute.
Good. How are you doing?
Let me mute my kick. Kick is acting up. How you doing? Shout out to everybody you on. We have Amber Essence. Before we even get anywhere, right? We were talking backstage and we were talking about the record and how you went across that record. I need to know when you wrote that chorus, the one that I so wanted, like mine for me, but it wasn't for me. How did you go about tackling that? Did you just hear the beat and go that direction? How did you do that?
It's a really good question. So I heard the beat and I was like, hey, like this is like, it's a nice beat, right? I was like, yeah, this like it's wavy, right? So I was like, as I'm listening to it, I'm kind of like, you know, rocking back and forth, and I'm like listening to, because when I got the track, it actually already had a verse on it, right? So I was like, okay, I kind of get the concept, I kind of know what this is about to be about, but I had like full creative control to come up with the hook. So the first thing I thought about was like, okay, it's a sexy song. I was like, my husband likes it when I call him daddy. So boom. And then there goes the hook. So I was like, okay, I'm not going nowhere, daddy, I swear, yada yada. So that's kind of how like that part came to be. And then like after I did that part, the rest of it kind of like wrote itself, which I was actually really surprised about. It did take me like a little bit longer to write than I probably think most people take to write. But like that whole part, I probably wrote it in maybe an hour or two. And it ended up being like a really catchy part of the song, which I, was excited about and happy to hear the people, receive it well.
So it took an hour and two, and that was a long time for you.
No, that was short for me.
Okay,
usually,
I was about to say, come on now.
No, usually it takes me much longer than that. Like usually I'll pick up a song, I'll write something, I'll put it down, I'll pick it up, all right, and then it ends up usually in a whole different place than when I started it. But it was just like, I sat down, I was like, I'm gonna knock this out. And like, I just started just writing, and it flew. It flowed.
It flew and it flowed, both
it
of them,
flew
right?
and flowed.
Now, for those that might not know you and where you're hailing from, could you give us a quick brief for those that are jumping on who you are, where you hailing from, and we gonna chop it up from there?
Yeah. So my name is Amber Essence, so that's my stage name. I was born in San Francisco, raised in Oakland. I am Bay Area through and through. I might not sound like it, but that's it. That's where my roots are. That's where I'm from. I've been doing music for a long time. I've been singing like basically ever since I can remember. It's probably the story of a lot of singers. Like once you kind of can discover you can sing, then you just don't stop singing. So I used to when I was younger, perform, to different songs. I'm a huge 90s R&B fan. So perform to different songs in my living room and pretend that like it was my stage. And I would even set up like stuffed animals and stuff. Like I was like, I'm about to be big, right? So I have big dreams and big aspirations. But the big problem was that I was shy. So like I didn't really share it with anybody else. It was just the stuffed animals and me for a long time. And then I recorded my first song in a closet. In college, my friend, she was like, hey, yo, you want to come record with me? And she had this whole like studio set up in her bedroom, and the booth, or the box is what she called it, was her closet. So nothing was in there. She had all her clothes in her drawers and stuff. She set that up like soundproof and everything. And like, I was like, I just want to make something. Like, I'm just going to try it, And so in '08, like I wrote my first like song that I ever recorded. And from there I was addicted. And so I just been recording, different things ever since then.
Wow. Yo, shout out to Berg. I love you too, my brother. Now, do you remember? I know you spoke about setting up the teddy bears and doing your performances and learning to sing, but do you remember that first moment that you said your first lyric or heard that first song or whatever, that the love hit you? for that.
Yeah.
And could you walk us through that from a creative or artist standpoint?
Yeah. One of the things that I learned recently is that people really enjoy like when they can connect with you as a person, right? If they could like see a bit of themselves in you. And that happened for me when I was about 10. I was watching MTV, just like looking at random, music videos, and like I had always been singing, but I never really thought about like, oh my God, like I need to, you know what I mean? Like pursue an actual career, like until this moment. And that moment was when when Aaliyah's Back and Forth video came on. And just like the way that she sung, how pretty she was, but also super like tomboyish. And like I was a big tomboy. Like, so my family is huge, right? And when I say my family, I'm talking about like my mom is one of 7 kids, and all of my cousins, we're all super close. And I'm like one of the only girls. It's me and then my younger cousin. She's like 8 years younger than me. So like I was the only girl for a long time. So like I used to play football, basketball. I used to be super tomboy, like wearing baggy clothes the whole night. So when I saw her, I was like, oh my God, like you can do both. You can be cute and you can also like dress like a boy, and like you can have everything. Like, so that was kind of like my first thing. So just from there, I was just like super inspired, and like that's kind of like where my inspiration comes from. And of course, like other people, that was around in the 90s, like SWV and Faith Evans. Like I have a heavy 90s R&B influence. Of course, like definitely appreciate a lot of the like older acts that came before, like Earth, Wind and Fire, Frankie Beverly and Maze, of course Michael Jackson, Prince. I
Classics.
love Prince so much. I have a funny story about Prince. We don't have to go into it right now, but there was a time where I was like, I didn't like him, right? And then as I started to get more mature in my own musicianship, I grew such a fond appreciation for him. And I'm really grateful that I got a chance to see him before he passed. Actually, one of his last shows before he passed. In
Oh, so you actually went to the show?
Yes,
Oh
yes.
wow, that's
And
dope.
I was so mad because like he did this thing where like he performed a lot of songs, then the lights went like up, right? So like usually when all the bright lights are on, the show's over. So I was like, cool, okay, good, I got my Prince fix. And I started to walk out. Then he came back out. So I was like, oh, I rushed back to my seat. And then when he did it the second time, I thought that was the end. So I walked all the way out, and then I hear everybody start screaming, and he went again and again. I'm like, why did he do that? So I ended up leaving the show early. I was a little upset, but I still got to see a good part of it. So
There you go. You got. I never got to see Prince in action, so that's most definitely something that I would have loved to enjoy. Now,
yeah, he was
now,
amazing.
now, speaking, you mentioned earlier like the first time you went into the studio.
Yeah.
Could you talk about that experience and what that did for you as an artist?
Um, I thought that after that first song that I was gonna just upload it and magic was gonna happen. so so I went on to, this is when people were still using like LimeWire and stuff. So I went on the internet and I was like, I need a beat, and like I just found some random beat on LimeWire, and the file name, I don't know how true this is, but the file name said Scott Storch, and I was like, I don't think this is him, but whatever. I was like, I'm gonna use it, and then he's gonna hear it eventually, and then he's gonna be like, hey, yo, that was super dope. I want to work with you. That never happened, of course. But but I found that beat. I just started like writing to it. I went into the studio. I think I might have finished it in one day. And then yeah, I didn't mix it. I didn't master it. I didn't know anything about any of that. I was just like, hey, everybody, listen to my new song. And this was when I was in college. So like I performed it, on campus whenever I had an opportunity to perform it. I was just trying to do all of the things like without any of the knowledge, right? So the song, I obviously like it didn't really go anywhere, but like for me, it was special because it was the first thing that I recorded. And I thought it sounded great. That was the first time that I ever learned anything about like doubling and doing ad libs and all that other stuff on a song to really make the song like pop and be whole. So it was a really good experience. And my friend who helped me record it, she is such an amazing musician. She has a really good ear, so she was helping me out a lot.
That's dope. That's dope.
Yeah.
And it seems like you were in the right place to get like a good recording concept. Like some artists experience, they get to the studio and they don't even really know how to record the processing of it. So it seemed like
Yeah.
you got a good sense of that. So after that, was that the moment you was like, this is what I want to do, or you still was indecisive? How was your next stages of like, what is Amber Essence today? What was the next stages
Yeah.
looking like?
That was the first time where like I was like, I could actually make a song, right? Because like before that, like I still like I knew that I wanted to pursue music and I knew that I was trying to make something happen out of it. But before that, it was just like I thought that if I'm like in the right place at the right time, like sure look, if I'm performing live, singing a cover, somebody's gonna be like, oh my God, you're the most amazing person ever. And that is just the most unrealistic thing. Like I found that out like the hard way. Like that's not how you get discovered. Like if you get discovered that way, it is so rare. But you really have to put in so much work, and you have to really like develop yourself, and all that. So after doing that song, that's when I first realized, okay, I can make an actual whole song that's just mine, right? That was the first original thing that I did, aside from the beat, who I don't know who produced it at all. And that inspired me to make another song and another song. So I did make a couple more songs while I was in college, and then I took like a really long hiatus. So
Okay.
yeah.
In the process of writing those songs in college and from there, was there ever a discouragement? Did you ever face like that doubt, whether it's self-doubt or doubt from around you? And if you did, what did you do to overcome that?
Yeah. A really cool story about me is that, or maybe I should say interesting. Nobody like externally ever told me like anything negative, right? Um, it was really all in my own head because I wanted things to happen that like now in hindsight were unrealistic. Again, me saying that like, oh, somebody's just gonna like pluck me out of the blue and be like, you're great and I want to work with you. And so I had that mindset for like a really long time. And I was like, well, I uploaded my stuff on TuneCore and I had 3 songs that were streaming and like they weren't, doing big numbers and I didn't have a Billboard hit and I didn't have any representation. I literally just thought I would do it on my own. Literally just me, like no team, except for when I, went to record everything. And so just, from there, like I just kind of got discouraged. I was like, I don't know if this is going to happen for me. And there was a lot of other stuff happening. I was like, I gotta like, be skinny and I have to like, do all these other things. And like, I had a lot of just like negative stuff going on. So like, that's where the hiatus came from.
Okay.
And then one day out of the blue, I got a DM from this guy. His name's Ian Martinez, because I had my music uploaded onto this platform called Reverb Nation. And he was like, I like your stuff. I think you're dope. We should make songs together. So I had like maybe a 5-year gap. And then when he reached out to me, he was like, I want to work with you. And I was like, all right. Like that was my whole, like somebody's going to find you out of the blue kind of moment. So we started working together and that kind of helped reignite like my whole like excitement around recording and pursuing the career. And so we did probably like 5 or 6 songs together and I threw those up on Reverb Nation and just let those do whatever they were going to do. And that's kind of how that went.
So that ignited the kind of like the snowball of what leads to you today.
Yeah. Because after that, I started like opening for people. I got in contact with this concert promoter, and he was like, "Hey, do you want to open for the Crossroads?" I was like, "Cool." So I opened for the Crossroads. He's like, "You want to open for Lloyd?" I was like, "Heck yeah, I want to open for Lloyd." So I did that, and then I got to open for Teja Moses, which was like amazing. And so just like those opportunities led to other opportunities and so on. So
I gotta stop the music real quick. Could you recite the names to who you opened up for one more time, please?
Yeah. So I opened up for the Crossroads. If you don't know who that is, the Crossroads is Raheem Devon, and I'm so sorry I forget the other guy's name, but it was a duo. And then I opened up for Lloyd, the guy that sings she's fine too, but I want you. That guy.
Yep.
And then I opened up for Teja Moses. And
Now the reason why I wasn't gonna just let you run by those names. I wasn't gonna let you run. How was opening up for these acts? How did you prepare? We have artists on, we have managers, we have creatives that are listening, that's in the chat. Like how was that?
it was amazing. Like literally each and every time it was amazing. Leading up to it, it was a little hard. I'm not gonna lie because like I wasn't really that established. So like I had to sell tickets. And if anybody is in the chat or watching the live and anything about like the pay to play kind of thing, I didn't have to pay out of pocket, but I did have to sell tickets. And so selling the tickets was hard. There was one time where I had to like buy the rest of my tickets. So I was like, I'm not gonna miss this opportunity to perform. So I had to cash out the remaining $200. But it was worth it. It was worth it. Preparing for it, like I just, made sure I practiced a lot. What I used to do, well, I still do this. I'll sit down and I'm like, okay, what songs do I have and what covers can I incorporate into the songs that I have to like tell a story when I perform? Because I was really big on like making sure that it wasn't just like me up there singing random stuff, right? That I had to like kind of flow in some sort of way. And so that's like my big thing when I perform. I want to make sure that that happens. So that's how I prepared. Was sitting down and like figuring out what songs of mine and what songs of other people can I string together, and what's going to showcase my singing ability the best. And so that's how I prepared for it. Midway through doing that, because that didn't all happen at the same time. It was kind of over like a couple of years that happened. I got an opportunity to actually switch from singing with backing tracks to singing with a live band, which was
Nice.
I'm spoiled now. Like I can sing with a track, but I'd rather sing with a band. Like I would much rather do that. It just to me, I feel it more when I
Yeah,
have a big
it,
band.
and it's an experience. It's an
Mhm.
experience of the vibrations of sound and how it can be controlled.
Yeah,
I completely get that.
yeah.
Now, I don't want to backpedal too much, but in those moments of performing and opening up for acts, you as an artist, what was something that you actually learned from that? And if you could share an advice to artists that are on, I know the selling tickets. That's the pain of dues to get to where you got to do, and I understand that. And this might be
Yeah,
a new venture for some people in the chat. But could you
yeah.
share how artists should go about that, and what did you learn? Like, what was your biggest take from that experience?
Oh man. Let's see. The selling tickets part, like if you have a fan base that already exists, that part could be maybe a little easier for you. But you really do have to put yourself out there. And one of the things that like I relied on was just selling my tickets to family because I was too scared to be like, oh, I have a show and come see me. And you know what I mean? Like I was like, I don't want like too much like me. Then people think like, oh, you're so selfish because you just, whatever. But it's really not about that. Like sometimes when you post something, like everybody's not going to see it. And I didn't know that at the time. Like, I just thought like as soon as I post something, everybody who follows me or everybody's gonna see it, but that's not the case. So you do have to like post and promote like a lot. If you can get anybody on your team, if it's family, friends, whatever, to like help you promote too, like utilize them, like let people evangelize you. And then, aside from that, like just really make sure that like you rehearse, right? Some people think that like, oh, I'll just like show up on the day of, do my sound check and be fine. Like, no, don't do that. You will find that as you're rehearsing that like you be like, oh well, it'd be dope if I did this or if I did that. And you can start to enhance like your show and your showmanship, right? Like there might be like some story that you're like, you know what, it'd be dope if I paused here and told this story during my set. But you don't want to do everything like impromptu and kind of like on the fly, right? I, as an artist, enjoy a really well rehearsed show, and I could tell. I could tell if somebody did not rehearse or they just winging it versus like when they really put their like heart, soul, and time into it. It's such a rewarding experience on both ends. Like the people that came to see you, like they deserve to get that. You know.
Were you always in that preparation mode, or that something you developed through your travels in artistry?
That was something I developed. So one of the shows that I did where I was opening for, I remember which one it was. But I was doing a sound check and it was just to the backing track. And one of the drummers from one of the other girls that was opening was like, "You're dope. I want to work with you." So me and him connected. He started playing drums for me on like all of my subsequent shows, and he was the one that helped me like form the band and all that other stuff. But he was like, "Yo, you're super dope, but I think that you need some vocal coaching." And he was like, "You need some other production. I'm gonna link you up with this guy, and his name was Jim." He lived all the way in Houston. I met with him over Zoom. He played me some beats. I was like, "Cool, these beats are dope." Da, da, da. He was like, "Yeah, so I'm gonna hook you up with this other dude." So this is an example of like 6 degrees of separation, being in the right place at the right time, etc. So the other person that I was introduced to, his name is Deep. His artist name is Deep. He goes by Deep. He is a singer. He's a songwriter. He's my coach. He does everything. He has a whole like entertainment company where he offers so many different services. And we started out with just vocal coaching back in 2016 or 17.
Okay.
And I've been working with him ever since. And he's the one that's like, you have to do everything with intention. You have to practice. You have to do all this stuff. And I had the mindset when we first started working together that things were just gonna happen. So like my first couple shows, I didn't prepare as much, right? I didn't really rehearse as much. I didn't have showmanship. I started working with him, and like one time he came all the way down from he was in LA at the time, but he flew up and he like came to one of my rehearsals. He was like, "You got to do this, do that, do this." He was like telling the band like, "Pause here, do this dope intro." Like he was like producing the whole show, and I was like, "This is dope. I gotta like do this all the time now." So like it developed over time, you know what I mean? And so I'm really grateful for him. I'm still working with him. He was actually the one that helped vocal produce I'm gonna pull up as well. He also helped co-write it as well. So I've been just really fortunate to work with a lot of great people, you know, through just networking, which networking still makes me nervous. When I met you, I was nervous. I was like, I don't even know what to say. What do I do? You know what I mean? But like, you just gotta force yourself to do it and just be you. You know what I mean? So even if I'm nervous, like just be nervous and just be in the space and be nervous, and eventually, you know, you'll get comfortable. So.
That is true. That's true. You mentioned I hear a lot of times that people gravitate to your talent, or you did something, and was there a long period of time, or are you still doing a lot of this on your own? Teamwork and having a team, I hear from artists daily. That's a
Mhm.
concept that comes up. In your idea, is team as important as they say?
Yeah, 1,000%. I would not be as developed as I am right now without a team. And you probably you shouted him out, but SYFM Collective, I'm also a part of that as well. And I actually got linked up with Terrell in team because I went to an event. It's always like something just like happens. I don't want to say it's by chance. And this is something that Deep always says, like nothing is happenstance. Like it might feel coincidental, but it was meant to happen. But there was this event called the Cookout, or it still actually is happening, but it's basically kind of like an artist camp. You go there for a couple of days. There's, you know, different rooms, different beats that are getting played, different engineers, producers, songwriters, and people just kind of hop on songs and record stuff. That's been a great experience. That also has helped me grow a lot. But there was one that was happening last year in July in Orlando, and I was like, I gotta go, I gotta go, I gotta go. And every time I looked at the flight, how much the flights were costing, I was like, I'm not about to pay $400 to fly to Orlando. And then one day I looked and the flight was like $200, and I was like, I'm going. Like literally a week before. So I wasn't meant to go, but I ended up going, and that's how I met Terrell and started working with him too. So there's just been a whole lot of. I think the team is necessary. To go back to your you know, original question, just like as far as like your, you know, your growth and development, your creativity is people to like bounce ideas off of, is people who believe in you, that will encourage you and push you. And I've gotten a lot of positive encouragement over the last, you know, few years from just like different people in the creative space, and I'm super super grateful for it, bro.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Yeah, shout out to the camp. I called them the Philadelphia vibes of the Wu, like a Wu Tang, cause Siki first, he was just flooding me with great music, great artists,
Yeah,
and that's kind of how I got wind of you, and then hearing and connected with Miss Jackson.
yeah.
Um, we know in this day and age with artistry, you kind of got to be a little bit of everything. You got to be
Oh my God. Yeah.
a stylist. You got to be. How has social media been effective in your development, whether it's your music or the person of you in a creative space?
I have been working on being more vulnerable, and like being less self-conscious about how I show up online. So it's gotten easier, but I'm not gonna lie, like the content creation part, it's so exhausting. You got to figure out like what to post. You got to like, is this going to be interesting? And like, I mean, it's nice that you get insights, right? And then I'll look at my insights sometimes. I'm like, dang, like nobody really watched this video all the way through. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so that can be discouraging. But the one thing that like I have learned, and this was something that was reinforced from something that I did last week. I actually went to. Oh my God, I feel like I'm telling you long-winded answers,
No,
but
no,
I went
please,
to.
please. This is the place to do it.
So the last single that I dropped, I'm gonna pull up. I released it through Venice Music Distribution Group. So Venice, if you're a pro member, they have all of these like, you know, additional events that sometimes you'll get invited to. So I like randomly got an email from one of the coordinators. Was like, hey, we're doing this thing at YouTube, and I'm in the Bay Area, so like a lot of those events happen in Southern California, but this one was happening in San Bruno, which is like right next to San Francisco. And I was like, bet I'm gonna take off for work. I'm gonna be there. So I like took a half day of work. drove down to San Bruno, and I sat in the room with some of the people who kind of like run the engine behind YouTube, and it was specifically YouTube for artists. And one of the things that they reinforced was you do have to, of course, post content. People have to see you. People want to be able. They should be able to connect with you. They want to connect with you. But the consistency part is the part that kicks a lot of people's butt, and that kicks my butt a lot. Like it's like if you are going to post something, it doesn't matter if you post like one video every day or if you post like 5 videos, every 2 weeks. As long as you have a consistent schedule, that's going to be the most effective thing. So some people think that like the more they post or the more hashtags they use or whatever, like that's going to make the difference. And the difference is if you pick Sunday at 5 and Thursdays at 3, you got to post Sundays at 5, Thursdays at 3 consistently. And then if you do that, and you use the right hashtags, of course, then like the algorithm will start to feed your stuff to the people that's looking for or already watching some of the stuff that's similar to what you're creating. And that's how you're going to like organically grow your audience. So for me, I've seen my audience start to grow organically over time, even with me being a little inconsistent. So if I just focus and lock in on being consistent, it'll probably grow faster. But I'm not in a rush for it to be like, I need, 10,000 followers like tomorrow. You know what I mean? Like, I really want to make sure that like I do it the right way. And I know that some people, my 5 followers, don't do that. It's the worst thing you can do.
Yeah.
Don't do that at all. But yeah, just use social media to your advantage, be consistent, and really like show up as your authentic self, right? Like I have videos that don't even have anything to do with music that I posted recently where people are like, yeah, I can relate to that. Like I did a car concert randomly. I did a video about how my edges weren't great. Like this, it could just be any random thing as long as like it makes sense for what it is that like, you want to represent, so.
I respect that. We are most definitely in the bringing the people into our world, whatever that looks like, bringing them into the world. We do have a question from the feed before I go into my next stage, but the question from the feed was, does you feel, what is your feel of weakness in your creativity?
What do I feel I have a weakness?
Yeah, in your creativity.
The good question. I think for me, it would have to be like the speed at which I work. I think that's probably because I'll overthink a song. Like I will overthink it to death, and I'm learning to undo my overthinking. But I'm like, I don't know if this is catchy enough. I don't know that, right? And so like, for example, the song I'm gonna pull up, right? I'll tell you kind of a little bit of how that came to be. I just like reached out via DM. I was surprised I got a message back because the person's, Robert is. If you know anything about making the band in MTV, you know who that is. And so I reached out to him in December. I didn't record my part until March. So I could have like been recorded a long time ago, but like I was like, I'm not sure. So sometimes like that, I think will hinder me and like how quickly I can get things done. So I would probably say that that's like my my weakness is I'll call it procrastination and overthinking.
Okay, I think a lot of artists could relate to that. I know I come across a lot of artists who are in their head and very critical on how it might display or how it look, and even questioning themselves compared to you now, and then as an artist, the questioning and the not sure, that big question mark that looms over us. How do you deal with that now? I know you said, I'm getting better of undoing and working.
Yeah.
But how do you manage to do that? Is that an outside thing? Is it from your team, or is it techniques that you use? Because I know artists would love to know that.
Yeah, it's a combination, and this is why I say the team is important. I just recently had like a moment where I was overthinking a lot of different things. It wasn't even just music; it was just like life stuff, in conjunction with music. And I was like, hey, just like I text the person. I was like, hey, are you busy? And they were like, no. And I was like, I think I need a bit. I need to get something off my chest. And like as we were talking through it, like I just realized like I'm trying to solve all of my problems literally in one day. And that's just like not how you do it. You got to just take everything one day at a time. You got to take each problem kind of one problem at a time. Like if something can wait, then let it wait. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't have to be solved right away. And so like just like realizing that, even though I haven't made any progress, and this was recently, this was literally Sunday, yesterday. So even though I haven't made progress on all of the things that were like weighing on me, like what I did get a chance to do was prioritize like how I'm going to tackle them, and like my strategy as to how I'm going to like overcome it.
Get you.
And I've been working on that since yesterday. So I think like, as an independent artist, and I would assume even as like a major label artist, like there's gonna be times where you have those moments, like because you're a human being. At the end of the day, like before anything else, you are a human. Even though people will try to dehumanize you, and like talk, mad crap about you online or whatever, like at the end of the day, you're still human. You're gonna have those thoughts. You're gonna probably have those insecurities every now and then. Like even somebody who's like super big, probably like every now and then it's like, you know what, I don't know if that song is it. Maybe I should, you know what I mean? And they might go back and work on it again. And maybe they find out that what they did in the beginning was good enough, right? But
Yeah.
like sometimes it's just a natural thing of what happens with people. So especially creatives.
That's so true. That's true. We got another question, but I wanted to ask in the midst of that question, you brought up something and it sparked a question. We
Yeah,
spoke about social media and how do you balance the mental capacity of man? Like some people could be mean, people could
yeah.
be so rude, callous, and there's so many things and noise. How do you balance the mental aspect of being an artist, like being vulnerable on social media, creating music, still lifing through life? How do you do that?
Um, I just take it one day at a time, to be honest. And I will be honest about like the type of feedback that I get. I don't really get that much negative feedback. I think that could be due to just like the size of my audience right now. You know what I mean? It could also be due to like just my personality. I don't really attract a lot of negativity in my personal life. So like I'm not attracting it online. I hope that I don't ever attract it. But I think that like when it happens, if it happens, that like I'll just understand that like this person doesn't know who I am. At the end of the day, they don't know me, right? And so like whatever opinion that they have, whatever they're saying is based off whatever they're seeing right in front of them. It could be a projection of themselves. So like I just gotta like let any of that stuff just kind of like, go, just go, right? Don't hold on to any of it, right? I'm really big also right now, especially in this part of my life, on energy. So giving a lot of attention to the positive stuff, the positive energy, because you put out positive, it'll come back positive.
There you go.
And so like when people are engaging with my page and my posts and stuff, and they're like, giving me encouraging words, I make sure to like shout them out, I try to like follow back people, you know what I mean? I try to engage with their content too. Like I want to make sure that people know that like you support me, I support you. I support you even if you don't support me. Like if I genuinely like what you're doing, I'm gonna support you. So that's kind of how I show up online. Um, as far as like balancing it, like with my personal life, that's something that I'm still working on. um,
It's a constant thing, right? We
it's
have
a
to
constant
we have to
thing.
continuously do that.
I don't know how anybody masters it. To be honest, I think it's an ever-changing thing, right? It's an ever-changing environment, and like there could be a moment where like you're just posting willy-nilly, whatever, and then one day you post a video and you go viral, and like you might not know how to handle that. So like you just, but day by day it'll change. So
It'll change.
yeah.
I want to go to the feed. The feed is asking questions, and I know they probably like, yo, you didn't answer my question. So we're gonna go to the feed a little bit. Shout out to everybody. If you're just jumping on, whether you're on the MJMG Present app, Apple TV, Google TV, if you're on Kick or if you're on Instagram, we're streaming on many different places today. We're sitting with Amber Essence, singer, songwriter, creative, dope artist, and if you don't know, you need to most definitely find out. But one of the questions we have is, what is your favorite topic to write about, and I believe, or what's your favorite thing to sing about?
Ooh. It is very cliche, but relationships. Uh, I think for me, right now, it's let me say this, it's easy for me to write about that. Just because like, I'm first of all, I'm married, but before I got married, I had relationships, right? And I have friends who are in relationships that like tell me like the stuff that's going on in their relationships. And I don't in the song like name anybody, but like I would draw inspiration from some of that stuff going on, whether it's like, tumultuous or whether they're having an amazing time in their relationship, right? So like relationships is the number one thing. But what I really want to do is like push myself to talk about things in a more creative way. So that's where I am in my creative journey, my writing journey, is like not to make it so like plain sight, I guess. I don't know if that's the right way to say it, but like I want it to be more clever, right? I want to be able to like kind of use like metaphors in my lyrics, or I want to be able to like change topics and talk about something that you might think I'm talking about, I don't know, like rainbows, but I'm really talking about a relationship. But like, it
Get you.
correlates, right? So I want to be able to do that. And I think that like I've kind of scratched the surface of like getting there. But yeah, it's still a work in progress. But yeah, definitely it's I'm gonna pull up as a relationship song. The other one that we're gonna play later is a relationship song. So those ones, it definitely comes easier. But yeah, I want to push myself. So
We're gonna ask a few more questions, and I'm gonna let the people hear the song I pull up. I want them to get a vibe. I want them to get a
yeah.
vibe. But we have another question from LA Eagle, and he said, "What is your definition of success as an artist?"
Ooh.
That one's heavy. You gotta
That's
unpack that
like
one.
that's not a question that you just say, well, it's one thing, right? It's like a multitude of things, I think. For me, I would say like success as an artist is just like if you set a goal for yourself and you achieve that goal, no matter how small or big it is, right? So for me, starting out, one of my goals was just to record a whole song. And I was able to do that, bam, right? So now it's like, okay, my next goal is to create an EP. Right. So it's like I haven't experienced the success of creating an EP yet because it isn't done, but it is in progress. Right. So I think like for me, maybe I'll say to keep it short and sweet is like just the completion of something, like setting out to do something and then like seeing it all the way through to completion. And then releasing it, honestly, like if it's a song, releasing it. Cause I had the song that you're gonna play, I had it done since March. It was mixed and mastered, and then I just sat on it. I was like, I don't know when I'm gonna release it. And then I was like, I got this rollout plan that I have to do. And I got the rollout plan from the distribution company. They were like, you should do all of these things. And I was like, I'm overwhelmed. There's too many steps. There's too many phases. And I wanted to look this way and I don't have the budget to do this big thing. And I just overthought it. And then one day someone was like, just put it out. And I was like, all right.
That's
So
my
I
word
just
up.
set a release date and then here we are. So
That's why I always tell artists, put it out, free it, man. Get it off the hard drive. Like
yeah.
it's
Yeah.
collecting dust. We have a question from MJMG, and it says, "Is your goal to get a deal? Are you looking to get signed?"
That's a good question. I think it depends on the deal.
Good
Like
answer.
it depends on the deal. For me, one of the things that I think I need the most help in is like the promo and marketing part, right? And I know that like for a lot of labels that's kind of like where a lot of like the budget comes from when they sign somebody, is to really like push them and get them out there. Because if no one knows who you are and they can't resonate with your brand, then you kind of, you know what I mean? It might not go anywhere. So it's easier with a label, I assume, because they have the budget and they could pay for all of these different things that help get you out there. And then they can look at the analytics, see what works, push the thing that works, and kind of like, accelerate you that way. As an independent, it's harder, especially if you're only using your own money from your 9 to 5. So you kind of, I think the growth is slower, but I think it can happen. For me, the one thing I want to avoid, honestly, is just being taken advantage of. Like that's the only thing, right? So if there's a good deal that like comes along and it doesn't take advantage of me, and it's a good opportunity for me, and it's mutually beneficial and not just one sided, then that might be the move for me. So
I love how you added the mutual.
yes,
That's very important.
yeah.
It gets better. Rude Boy asks, "Who's an artist today that you want to work with, and why?"
There's
They bringing them out. They bringing them out today. I do this show every week, and I don't be getting these these questions.
no, that is such a good question. Not one person. I'll name a few, and I swear to God, there are so many more. I have wanted to work with Missy Elliott for the longest time, and I'll say Missy because she could produce. She does vocal production. She worked with Jasmine Sullivan. She worked with Aaliyah. Y'all know I talked about Aaliyah for a little bit earlier in the interview, and I just think that she's amazing, and she still does her own thing too. So I would love to work with her. I don't know if you guys know who Duran Bernard is. I would love to work with him. I've seen him live a couple times. He's an amazing performer. There, I want to say Beyonce, but I feel like I don't know that would work. I don't know that would work, but I love Beyonce so much. Let me see who else. I would love to work with Miguel. If I could have a song with Miguel, I would be over
Ooh.
the moon. I would be over the moon if I could work with him. There's so many different people that I would love to just be in the room with. I don't even have to record anything with them. Just being in the room with them and like absorbing their knowledge and like watching them work. Like I think that would help me so much just being in the space. But if I could do a song, if I could do a song tomorrow, Miguel, I'm just gonna put final answer.
Miguel, you heard that. Final answer. Final answer. Shout out to everybody jumping on. What we're gonna do real quick? We got the questions are still coming in. We got about 2-3 more questions that's still on the board. But we're gonna go to I'ma pull up. We're gonna create a vibe. Let y'all hear if y'all just jumping on right now. We were Amber Essence. We were chopping up, going through the journey of her creativity, and we're gonna give a little sample of it right now. So check this out, and we'll be right back with Amber. Check this out.
Studio, we get busy.
I know you don't think I'm ready. Don't be scared to say it. I've been waiting on you. So what you gonna do? Cause I've been on your mind, been pressing my line. If I stay tonight, I can get you right. Till alright. You've been begging me for a long time. I might come fuck around for one.
Ooh, pull up on me, baby, show me how much you really, really want me. Ooh, pull up on me. Ooh, pull up on me. It's not like I don't enjoy our FaceTime and how we be on the phone until late night. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, we online. Every time you post a pic, you see that I like it, but I be on the road. You know I'm a star. You be working hard, being the boss you are. Girl, I'm tired of being apart.
I know we both are VIP.
And our schedules sometimes collide, but we need to make time for what we need. And that's something we can fix tonight.
Say you feeling me like crazy.
Prove it, prove
And you already
it.
caught me, baby.
We should do it.
Whatever's on our schedule, do it. I'll do it. What we get, can be great, can be great.
I need you in the flesh, I'm tired of the gram. I wanna see if you as good as you say. I want you right here in the palm of my hand. Ooh, baby, ooh.
I'm on my way. Let me get the fuck up out of here.
Y'all heard that? Let's bring it back. Y'all heard that? Wait, before I go into the question, right? That was you in the ad-libs with the high note hitting the young Michael Jackson note keys and all that in the background.
Yep.
She said,
That was me.
That's me. No, most definitely. Those are textures.
Yeah.
We got from the feed. It was like, beautiful voice. Like,
Thank you.
you know, people are really resonating to that.
Thank you.
Before we continue, I just want to knock out some of these questions because they had, and I appreciate everyone hanging out asking the questions. They said, "Would you still work with Scott Storch? Would you still work with Scott Storch? You know what I'm saying? Because you got your first beat. You know what I'm saying? So would you still work with him?"
That is a hilarious question. I really don't think that was his beat. I think that was somebody attempting to like name the file, like this is a Scotch Storch type beat, but not necessarily that he produced it. I don't even know if he's still producing. I haven't heard anything specifically from him. I mean, if it made sense, but I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know.
That's a tough question.
You got to feel the vibe that you in when it's presented, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like, especially if I'm working on a project, like if it fits with the project and it makes sense, then yeah. But if it doesn't, then like it might be for a different time, So.
We have a lot of artists that did amazing things throughout their career, and you have a record that is played almost every week on multiple shows of mine.
Yeah.
How was it working with Sir Vaughn on that record, Come Here?
Oh my God. Mr. Sterling is like so dope. He's super down to earth. Right? Like, so I'm gonna be go back to like the beginning. When I first got the track, I hadn't met him. I didn't even know who he was. But Miss Jackson of MJMG Presents was like, hey, like I have this song, like, are you interested? I heard the song and I was like, oh, I like this track. Like I like the beat, like whoever produced this did a great job, right? And then I was like listening to the lyrics and I was like, okay, I think I could tackle this, right? And I was like, this might be a good opportunity for me to, kind of just like get a little bit more exposure. So I did the track and like he heard it and he called me and he was like, yo, you did your thing. Like you were amazing. And he just gave me like so much encouragement. And I was like, I really appreciate that. And I told him like, thank you for the opportunity to, be able to be on this track with you, cause like you don't have to do that, right? You could be like, oh, I don't want you on the song anymore. You know what I mean? Like he could have made any decision he wanted to. Ultimately, like it's his song. And from there, I got an opportunity to do a second song with him, which I think we changed the name of it, but originally it was called Black Girl Magic.
Yes.
Um, yeah, and I did the hook on that, and some ad libs and some harmonies. I got to do my little thing with stacking. I love stacking, by the way. And so that was the second one that I did with him, and I just I was like, of course I'm doing another song with you, absolutely, like why not? So we have two songs together, which I'm really excited about. But he's a really cool dude, super encouraging, and he was like giving me a lot of advice about just the music industry in general, and I'm just really grateful for that, because it's not all the time that you get to talk to somebody that has had that type of opportunity, who's had like a major record deal before, and kind of like understands like the do's and don'ts of
Yeah.
being an artist. Yeah,
That,
so.
that's super true. That's super true. On this show, there's only one question that we ask everybody. It's dialogue conversation. We just chop it up, fill in the blanks with our audience.
Yeah.
Um, the only question we ask, if you could look at the earlier stages, the younger stages of Amber, and if you could look back and just tell yourself one thing, or maybe even two, what would you say to the young Amber Essence?
Oh my God. I'd probably go back to maybe when I was like 16 or 17, um, and really speak life into myself and like tell myself, like, you are talented, you are amazing, people need to hear you. Um, you know, Not that I didn't take it seriously before, but like take it seriously, like really like dig in, right? Because I'm doing that now and I'm seeing like so many opportunities to open up, and I'm like, dang, I wish I would have did that when I was younger so I could have like more time to like really grow and develop. And I don't think that I'm running out of time, but I do think that like, 20, 30 years from now, I can't be like 60 years old and trying to start, or I can, but I don't want to, right? That's not what I want for
There
myself.
you go. I don't want to. That's right. Say it.
I don't want to. So yeah, so I think like if I just believed in myself, like just that much more when I was younger, and really put myself out there, I think that would have made a lot of difference. And yeah, that's what I would do.
Nice, nice. Now, what is in store for Amber Essence? What do we got to look forward to in the future? And if you ain't gotta tell everything, but what can we look forward to seeing, hearing, and expecting in the near future?
I'll share a little bit. So I have some visuals I'm working on.
Nice.
So hopefully, that'll drop sometime in the next, 30 days ish or so. So if you guys want to see any of the stuff that I'm working on or I'm going to be dropping, like make sure you follow me. My Instagram handle is at Amber's Lyric. So it's not Amber Essence. Although if you search Amber Essence, you might actually find it. Um, so that's one thing. And then I have another single that I will be dropping sometime in August. I did preview it on A&R Desk before. It was a while ago though, so some people were lucky to be able to hear it. But I think it's a song that like a lot of people could relate to, especially women. And it's not a male bashing song, so just make sure y'all know that. I
Okay.
don't want people to think it's a male bashing song. It's just a encouraging, or not even encouraging. It's more so like a I see you type of thing, and I understand that like you might need to have some moments to yourself as a woman, away from all of the other things that are demanding in your life, but in a really cool and creative way. So that's happening, and then I am in the process now working on my EP. I wanna put together a whole entire project. I really want to know what that feels like to have an entire project done, to have all the visuals done, like just like any signed artist, right? Like who says I can't do the same thing that they're doing? They have the money because they have a label that's paying for it. I'm paying for it and funding it myself. But it's still possible. It just might take a little longer. But I'm that is what I'm doing. So yeah.
Nice, nice. I want to stop the music real quick. We in the era of everybody getting their flowers. And here, MJMG presents SHU Radio. We don't give out flowers, we give out honor, because honor lasts forever and flowers do die. And I want to take this time to give you your honor. Hearing your story and all the stages of it, you always approached it with this genuine, sincere energy. And it gravitated to a lot of people. And through your music, you were able to share it. Like you just mentioned, you wrote a song to tell individuals, I see you. The thoughtfulness and the intent that you put forward in your music and the energy that you give forth is a great example for not only artists, but people in creative spaces of how to be. And with that being said, we just want to give you your honor and a round of applause for your energy. Like I mentioned earlier, for those that didn't know, I was in California. I was in the Bay. The Bay feels like Brooklyn's cousin. Like I was there walking around. I felt really good at home, and I got to meet Amber and her humbleness. I didn't see fearful. I didn't see awkwardness. I just saw a humbleness where the individual knew who they were and how they would be. And you know, I cracked a joke with that. That just told me like I do this shit. You know what I'm saying? But that humbleness is something that really defines your approach and how you go about music. So salute to you on that, and most definitely keep going. Before we go, we're gonna close it with Come Here. But before we go, I want to leave you with the floor. If there's anything you want to say, anything you want to address to the listeners and the artists, or say to yourself, please feel free to do that.
Yeah, I want to say this now while I have the opportunity, because you never know, tomorrow is not guaranteed. So I do want to like give thanks to all the people who literally have like selflessly helped me along the way. So shout out to Terrell, shout out to Deep. We've been working together for a long time. So shout out to Deep, big shout out. Miss Jackson, Mr. Servon, you Spud, you've given me some encouraging words as well. So I appreciate that. My husband, he's my rock. Like he has been supporting me throughout this whole entire time. There was a time where he told me, he was like, I would live out of a cardboard box for you to chase your dreams. And I was like, you a real one.
Yeah, so
I love him.
What is Mr. Man's name?
David.
Let's give a round of applause to David real quick. I can't stress, not to cut into, I can't stress how powerful, I don't want to say important, but how powerful it is to be in a space with a significant other who not only sees your vision or your role, but adds to it and willing to sacrifice. So salute to David on that. But,
shout out to my babe.
There you go. But please continue.
Shout out to Gigi. She's my line sister. We went to college together. Like we are like locked in like this. There were plenty of times where I went to LA to record and she let me stay at her house for the free. Like she didn't have to do that, but she did, you know, and she's on my team now, like helping me with like creative ideas and stuff like that. I'm really nervous that I'm probably forgetting somebody, but like my mom, my aunts, like all my family, like just everybody anybody, even if you've like just like left a comment and said like, you know, I think you're great, or I like your song. Like I really appreciate that. Like all of that literally goes like a long way, and I don't want anybody to feel like anything goes unnoticed. You know, I really take all of it, all the positive stuff. I really take it, I internalize it, and I use it to fuel me forward. You know, so anybody that I work with, if I missed you, is charge it to my head and my heart.
There we
and
go.
Yeah, it was amazing speaking with you and having this time to kind of just like, you know, talk through my journey on your platform, Sweat. So thank you so much for that.
Thank you. You support us a lot. You're on multiple shows. You're submitting. You're always there. So it's most definitely great to have the moment to let the people hear you. So now when they hear the music, they could place not only the voice but the presentation of the person. So most definitely salute to you again. Thank you for coming on the show and sharing. We are most definitely looking forward to hearing more music. And you know, every Wednesday I'm waiting to hear some joints and see some visuals. I be stressing the visuals all the time.
Yeah.
Let's get some visuals going. But again, thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you.
You have a good night. When you get off, just you got to give David this though. You gotta,
Oh, okay.
you got it. Yeah, you gotta give him the
I will.
give Dave that. Give David
I
that.
will. I will. We don't have a secret handshake yet because I can't remember it. Um, but he has it with my kids. So I don't know. Maybe we'll come up with a simple one I can remember. But yeah, for sure.
All right. Thank you again. You have a good night and be safe.
Thank you.
Oh man, that was super cool, y'all. All right, y'all. That was Amber Essence. If you didn't get anything, you're not gotta give my last word for the night. So I want to give a shout out to everybody that's on right now. Salute to everybody that's on. Yo, what's going on? 4K, I see you DM the most. SYFM Collective D, Miss J, Tim Dog. We got big Tim Dog. Tim Dog, I ain't see you a few days, bro. Where you been? Oh no, I've been missing. I take that back. Even Muse, the Ever So Beautiful, and It Gets Better. Rude Boy. Shout out to everybody that was on, man. If you didn't get anything from today, I heard a lot of positive energy talking. I heard about like what you give out, what you get. And I'm gonna leave this. I don't know where I heard this from. I heard someone say this and I adopted it. So I don't want to take credit for it. If you want to give me the credit for it, I'll take it that way. But I'm not gonna self-proclaim the credit, right? But what you frequent is your frequency. I'm gonna say that again. What you frequent is your frequency. What you decide to put out 90% of the times is what you're going to receive. So when you're in these creative spaces with yourself, don't corrupt it with the negativity. Don't corrupt it with the solutions that don't apply to you. Don't give yourself that extra amount of pressure that you don't deserve. Frequent the outcomes that you need. Frequent the outcomes you desire. Therefore, you can receive them in good energy. We always heard about how you give, it's what you get. We hear all that stuff. But in the true essence of it all, why adopt? Why adapt? All the things that we don't need. Why add to us? We already have all the energy. We have all the noise. We have all the stuff surrounding that are waiting, willing, and wanting to pull us down, put a hurdle, see us frown, give us doubt. Don't let that be what you frequent, because then that will be your frequency. Shout out to everybody tonight, man. It was super dope to have the conversation with Amber Essence. Like I said, she's always saluting this and showing love. So it was cool to highlight that and get some backstory of who the individual is. With that being said, y'all, we're going to go into Come Here. This is Amber Essence. This is actually Mr. Serve On featuring Amber Essence. We get a lot of requests for this on the A&R desk and a lot of submissions for this song on the A&R desk. This is one of the songs that I was like, yo, that hook, man, I wish that hook was mine, because I would have did what, not saying Serve On didn't do what he did, but I'm a competitor. And I would have did my thing. I would have did my thug thizzle on that. But shout out to Amber Essence. Shout out to MJMG Presents. Check us out every Monday, 9:30 p.m. Unless I'm sick, possibly out of town. Other than that, the world got to be coming to an end, and even then I might go live and broadcast, and we talking about that. But check us out on Wednesdays for the A&R desk, where we bring A&Ring right to your phone. And Sundays, check us out for Dungeon Talk with me, Nate, no IG, where we bring living room conversation right to your phone. All right, y'all, I did enough talking. Thank you for hanging out with us. Thank you for being there. There is no show without y'all. Other than that, it's just a conversation. This is Spot Brooklyn, MJMG Presents SHU Radio, and this song is Come Here, Serve On, Mr. Serve On, let's get that correct, and Amber Essence. Y'all have a good night, y'all. Be safe. Glad to be back.
SHU Studio, we get busy.
Try to be professional, come here. But it seems like it caused a little stress in you. Trying to feel the best in you. Yes.